Welcome to Dr. Mary Travel Best Independent Travel Guide, focused on London, England, for women like you who need a little extra support traveling the world, one woman at a time. I've been traveling independently since 1972 and soon will release a second guidebook on the steps to independent travel. Please share this podcast with your friends and other travelers and make their trips the very best, like Travel Best. In this episode, the FAQ is, if there's a flight delay or cancellation, what can I do about it? Today's destination is London, England. Today's mistake, passing my stop on the SkyTrain to the airport gate. And travel advice, raise your hand to switch seats if needed. So the FAQ, if there's a flight delay or cancellation, what can I do about it? And the answer is, when the airline cancels, you could be entitled to either a ticket refund or a replacement flight. These rules are all subject to change, but you could claim compensation if the airline informed you of the cancellation less than 14 days before the scheduled departure date. The amount of compensation is between 250 and 600 euros per passenger, at least in the UK, depending on the distance of the flight. You are entitled to refreshments and beverages during the long waiting periods. Now, if you cancel the flight yourself, you should check with the airline for their current rules, as there could be a cancel or change fee. The show notes have lots of links to help you. And now for the destination, London, England. Non-stop flights are back from many US destinations, including my home in San Diego, with British Airways and American Airlines. Look for airline flight sales, especially in non-holiday wintertime, as February is the slowest travel month. You can pay as low as $200 or as much as $4,000, depending on your budget and flexibility. What about COVID and face coverings in England? The rules for wearing face coverings may be different in the other UK nations, so check the guidance before traveling from England to one of those other nations. London is the capital of England and the UK. History goes way back to the Roman days. The Houses of Parliament, the Big Ben Clock Tower, and Westminster Abbey are all easy to find for the independent traveler. The main waterway, the Thames River, will help you orient yourself as a traveler. There's an observation deck called the London Eye, as in you can see it, a wheel that provides panoramic views of the South Bank Cultural Complex and the whole city of London itself. My favorite museum is the British Museum, with all of the mummies, plus the Rosetta Stone and Gutenberg Bible. Now, what about some things to do in London? This is going to vary by your interest and your time available. You can get around by bicycle, car, taxi, minicab. You can take the double-decker bus or the tube, which is what Londoners call their subway system. There's a lot of exploring that's easy for your first trip abroad. Here's a list of things you may want to explore when you visit this capital city. You could see the Queen. You could watch the changing of the guard ceremony at Buckingham Palace. You could read the local newspaper and see if there's anything you'd like to do. When I was in London, I attended a Disney party and parade. I was reading about it in the newspaper, decided to go. It was a delightful surprise, not crowded at all. Now, Shakespeare in the Park is always a good idea if the weather cooperates. And then you can always travel to Oxford University. It's not too far from London for a side trip by train. You can see music and music fests. That could delight you, or art galleries. And for sports, well, you've got football and cricket. And I've been watching that TV show called Ted Lasso, which is about a fictitious soccer team in England. Have you seen it yet? The London theater links are in the show notes. You won't want to miss a great show. And now for today's mistake, passing my stop on the SkyTrain to the airport gate. In Atlanta's airport, one of the busiest in the world, I was on the SkyTrain. I forgot about getting off when it came to my spot. All of a sudden, I was back to reality and missed my stop and realized it. So I got off at the next station and I had to go up the escalator, find the exit to the proper letter of the gate, and then go back down the escalator. It didn't take too much time, but I was embarrassed that I missed my stop. So don't nod off when you're on that airplane train so you don't miss your gate. Now for today's travel advice. Raise your hand to switch seats if needed. So if you're in an aisle seat with an empty seat next to you and someone asks you to switch seats so a parent and child can sit together, go ahead and offer. You never know how you can make someone's day by doing small things like this. Offer to help someone who needs support, and you will feel really good about that move during and after your flight. Today, I want to bring meaning to your travel, so send me your travel tip. You can send it to my website, Facebook page, my group, or Instagram. You can send it to my Twitter, my blog, and maybe you'll see your tips in Dr. Travel Best's Steps to Independent Travel.
What's on your travel bucket list? Tell the doctor and her team of women who travel the world seeking the very best. Dr. Travel Best, that is.